Start on your phone.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Infinity, episode number 20, recorded not 20th, December 2nd, 2013. It's just Jason and I here tonight. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm doing really well, Will. How are you?
Outstanding. Yeah, it's just, like I said, going to be the two of us. Lloyd or Pirate or Steve C aren't able to join us today, but that is okay. Jason and I are going to do our little song and dance for all of you to see and hear. Just want to say hey to Travis in the chat room, and if you're either listening to this or watching this after it's been recorded, come join us live every Monday night, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, that's US, which is, I think, 1 p.m. Tuesday time, Australian. You can find us at InsideDisneyInfinity.com/live, and we have a chat room up there, and we have the video playing, so come join us. That being said, Jason, how have you been? You've been stuck in the land of next-gen gaming, haven't you?
Yes, I've been gaming on the PlayStation 4 with the few of us that got it in Australia. I was the ninth at my local retailer, so I just made it in the first shipment. But I also received my Woody doll this week and my Wreck-It Ralph, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
That's crazy. You were 9 of 9. How long ago did you pre-order? And
I pre-ordered in maybe August.
okay,
About 3-4 months ago, something like that. And at the time, I think I was 7th at that time, so I don't know how I got bumped to 9. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I got it on day one, so no technical issues. It all works. No, didn't run into any of that HDMI issues or anything, and beautiful thing.
yeah, you're enjoying it, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know about you, but when Next Gen came out, like I'm obviously playing on the one, but after I got it and started playing with it, all it did was make me want to play Disney Infinity on Next Gen, and oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait for that. It's going to be so
We'll
awesome.
get there. We'll get there.
Yep, soon enough. Well, all right, this isn't the Next Gen Gaming podcast. This is the Disney Infinity podcast. So, what have you been doing in the world of Infinity lately?
Just been doing my reviews, and as I said, I've got my Wreck-It Ralph here. We could see. I just can't
Ooh,
get
he's
over how
still
big
in
this thing
box.
is. Yeah, I got to take photos of them. You know me.
That's right.
I got to do my 360-degree photo shoot of both these figures, and I'm guessing I'm getting like daily emails saying I've got figures shipped. So it's kind of like Christmas. The nondescript box arrives, and I get to open it up and find out what it is. I had
That's
a hunch
hilarious.
today I was going to get Mickey, but it was Woody, so that was kind of disappointing.
It's crazy that you're just now getting Woody, and Woody is over a month old for us. I can't.
Totally.
You do have the Toy Story playset, right?
Yeah, I've got the Toy Story
Okay.
playset. Yeah,
How long
yeah.
ago did it come out for you?
I got that the day before or of the charity event that we did
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right.
because I was
So,
playing it. Yeah,
well, for us, it came out at the same time, and it totally makes sense having both those figures come out. I can't believe it took so long for you.
totally does make sense. It's yeah, very strange. So I'm assuming I've got the Frozen set in the mail or the Vanellope, whatever her name is, the other Wreck-It Ralph
Vanellope von
figure.
Schweetz.
Yeah, I'm assuming I got her underway. Yeah, there she. That looks
Yeah.
awesome. She looks big too.
She's actually really tiny compared to Mr. Ralph,
She's got a massive
especially.
head.
Yeah, well, she always does, but here, oh,
Oh yeah,
there
that's
they are
cool though.
standing side by side.
Such cool
Um,
character design, really.
it is, yeah. So these are the only two. Oh, let me ask you this before we start talking about that. Have you had a chance to actually put, even though he's in the box, have you put him on your base station and played with him
No,
yet? No.
no.
So you're going to be completely surprised. So, well, I've played a little bit of these two figures. They're the only two new figures that I've gotten this past week, and I don't know about you, but the first thing I noticed, Jason, was when I walked out how big or how heavy the bag was compared to normal. And that is because this
It
Wreck-It
is.
Ralph figure is a beast.
It is weighty, isn't it? It's very weighty.
He is. He's by far, I want to say Sully might be the only one comparable to him, and Yeah, Mr. Ralph is a lot heavier than even Sully. But I agree, man. He came out really, really well, and some of
Crazy
the
paint job. It's great.
yeah with the checkered
Yeah, and the
shirt,
detail in the eyes and just phenomenal.
it's insane. Yeah, it's tiny beady eyes. The buttons on the shirt, even.
This one's going to create great photos.
I
I
can't
can tell
wait.
already.
I
Yeah,
can't wait to see it. It'll be cool if you can play around with sense of scale with him because he's just so ginormous.
that's a good idea. I like that. Maybe like a from a like an under a low shot from the macros if you're
Hmm.
looking. That's a cool idea. I'll
Yeah.
put that into production.
So I'm actually going to have a review, and that's what I was focusing on playing Infinity this week. I'm going to have a review of both Penelope and Wreck-It Ralph coming out this Wednesday at Vinimation Kingdom. But one thing I noticed when I was working on that review, Jason, is so many of these figures you have that weird kind of intersection of either live action to video game or cartoon or animated to video game, and these characters look so much like their movie versions of themselves, and it totally makes sense, right? It's a video game, it's
That's a
a
good
toy
point.
slash video game version of their video game slash movie selves. So
And so does Wreck-It Ralph feel big in the game itself?
he does, yeah, yeah. It's funny. I even talked a little bit about that. He's especially compared to Vanellope, who's obviously a lot smaller, and she's kind of spunky and quirky, and she's really fast. She runs really fast and really energetic. And Wreck-It Ralph has so much weight with his movement, and not only his abilities, which are obvious, but I equated him to kind of a gorilla, and I think that's part of his inspiration. But even his big
Yeah,
lumbering movements are kind of like that in games. So,
that's
but I
very
mean,
cool.
mobile enough. His adventure. Spoiler alert! If you don't want to know what his adventure is, turn it off right now or stop listening. His adventure is a side scroller, which makes
Awesome.
perfect sense. One of the few side scrollers I enjoyed, and you will be happy to know, Jason. I don't know how they did it, but it seemed like they were able to block both the back. I don't know, back wall and the forward wall, so background and foreground, the walls, so you couldn't fall off of those,
Awesome.
which made it a lot more enjoyable and a lot more playable. And it was an agile platforming 2D side scroller, but even with his weight and everything and sluggishness, he was very playable. And
And
I don't.
he's got the pixelated fireball, yes?
It's interesting. They both do. They both have the Vanellope's cherry bomb as a tool attack, I guess technically is what it would be, and but they each have different abilities. So he has it's called the Wreck-It, I think Ralph's Wreck-It, and he like gorilla punches the ground, which
Yeah,
looks really
yeah.
cool, and it leaves a wake behind him of kind of crushed ground, which is cool. And then Vanellope has her glitch, which I wrote about this in the review, but that is my absolute favorite ability in this game so far, and
Right.
it's not because it's that special or anything, but it's because it is the only ability I've seen that really encapsulates the character and what makes up that character. And that was such a big part of her character in the movie. It was just really cool them bringing that into the game, and I really find myself liking that. So, and it looks cool
Well,
too. It looks very kind of matrixy, but blue instead of green when she does that. So.
I guess we'll all get to read your review soon then.
Yes, hopefully I didn't spoil too much of it. So I guess Travis is saying I didn't even realize this. This is good news. He's saying that Ralph's version in the game of the cherry bomb is 8-bit, and Vanellope's is 16-bit. And so
That's
that's
cool.
interesting.
Look forward to
That,
checking that out.
huh? That's really neat. He also said he's disappointed in you, Jason, that you have no green screen going on. Well, you have a green screen, but no effect.
It's it's really hot here today, and these lights spew out the heat, so I taking a day off. Sue me.
Well, yeah, I don't understand how it's so hot there. It's the middle of winter here, and so we're freezing here in
Although
Colorado.
running the risk of backing myself into a corner though. Teaser for next week. I'm thinking of putting my Christmas tree digitally in the background as of next week through to the Christmas season, however long we are going, which we don't even know yet, do we, Will?
As far as our Christmas
We
holiday
don't. We
season
don't know
goes.
if we stop for Christmas at all.
Okay, yeah. I would love to see that though. I want to see what your Christmas tree looks like.
Yep, totally. There'll be a legitimate Haynes Christmas background in the background here next week, all willing.
That's awesome. The only thing that would be better is if you were able to create it in game and then somehow 3D print it and have that as your Christmas tree.
Yeah,
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, totally. But you'll see my Christmas tree next week, all willing.
All right. Well, cool. That's fun for this week in Infinity. We actually have a rumor this week. Can you believe that, Jason?
And I cannot believe we have a rumor.
That line is getting increasingly blurred between rumors and news, but we're reporting on this as a rumor because it was something that was posted and then promptly pulled. So Toys R Us briefly listed the Phineas and Agent P figures on their website this past week. It looks like it's going to be a toy box pack, and they had a release date of April 1st, 2013. Hopefully that's not just an April's Fool's joke. And then later that same month, those figures being released individually. So I know that's good news for a lot of people.
My least anticipated figures.
You know, it's mine too, and that's just because I've only watched a couple episodes. I have nothing against them, but I'm just less
I only ever
invested.
hear good things about it, but I'm the same. I've not watched it.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe we have some homework until possibly April 1st.
Yeah, I'll get them.
That's exciting because there's so many people that are really, really into that, both kids and adults alike. And even there's this Disney. I have this bad habit of reading the headlines of blog posts and not actually reading the blog posts themselves. And I unfortunately did that with this one, although I did bookmark it to read later. One of the official Disney blogs I read, they had an article about why Phineas and Ferb is so popular with adults and kids alike, so I'm going to have to take a look at that. So yeah, that's exciting.
I've run out of shelf room, just FYI. I've run out of shelf room to actually display all my figures, so
yeah,
that's crazy. What am I going to do?
I have too. In fact, that's why the majority of my figures are now lining my desk because my shelf is all full. So I don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
that's a good problem to have.
I guess so.
Cool. All right. Well, shall we talk a little bit of news this week then?
Yeah, let's get into the news.
So this first one, I don't know if you saw this one, but this was awesome, and it was actually Johnny V, Mr. Vignacchi, posted it. He tweeted it this morning. So this last week was Thanksgiving here in the States, and the Friday, or actually the evening of Thanksgiving this year, and the Friday after is Black Friday with all the sales. Disney Infinity was ranked the #2 selling video game, even above Skylanders, and it was only below the Hulk known as Call of Duty Ghost.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's crazy to think about from all the Black Friday sales that happened this last week. And lots of those sales were video games, although I do think personally that Infinity, Skylanders too, but they were some of the best deals out there. You could get the starter kit for $37. That's a
steal, considering you're getting 3 toys effectively.
Yep. In fact, if I didn't have a version of both the PS3 and the Xbox version already, I would have picked up one of them then, because it was just such a good deal, and it was awesome to see that I don't know, that spells really, really good things, I think, for the holiday season and for holiday sales of Infinity.
For sure.
Honestly, it kind of surprises me a little bit. I feel like the Skylander still has much more of a presence, and that's just because I think it has more of a foothold, and it's been out a lot longer, and it has more of a following than Infinity. So I'm really surprised to see this, and it sounds like...
I still think it's a communication issue. I personally believe it hasn't been... what it is, I don't think it's been communicated as well as it could have been, possibly. in the context of like this whole play and playing with the
Yeah.
toys. I think people are too quick to just lump it in as a rip off of Skylanders.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I was actually listening to an old version of one of Lloyd's podcasts today. It was, I think, from June, and he was talking in the podcast how he wasn't originally uh, planning on buying the game, but then he saw a toy box trailer for the game, and so it wasn't a playset trailer. And he said after that he was guaranteed he was going to get it because that looked so cool. And it's hard for me. I don't know about you, Jason, but it's hard for me to kind of step outside our circle of infinity and our community and look at it with fresh eyes to see, how much it is being advertised, and then also um, if it's being advertised correctly, as far as showing off that toy box.
And it's tough because who do you advertise? Do you ever advertise heavily to the children, or do you skew towards the parent? You know what I mean? Obviously, the one that's gonna buy it. Like that's, and maybe I feel like that's where they've maybe could have put some more resources towards, is convincing the parents, hey, this is why this is a great game to buy, because it can be educational.
Mhm.
It's characters that you know as well as your children know. Um, I don't know. As I said, I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
an easy thing to market at all. I'm just simply saying that it's still an amazing result considering that they are. As far
Yeah.
as in my discussions, most people are just lumping it as a Skylanders. Some people, even I've talked to people, think it literally is just like an expansion for Skylanders.
Really, that's interesting.
So, but
Well,
anyway, number two selling. That's awesome.
that is awesome, and they do have the work cut out for them, but it sounds like they're doing well on it. So, congrats to Disney Interactive and the guys at Avalanche for that, because I think
They're
that's a
doing
huge
something
thing.
right.
Yep. That kind of leads us to our next item of news. So, Disney Infinity has actually been nominated for 2 Toy of the Year awards, and you can actually go and help win, or help Disney Infinity win. You just got to go to www.toyawards.org and you can vote for Disney Infinity. And in the process, when you do that, you also are entered to win some prizes. So that's cool. I retweeted one of Johnny V's initial post about that, but I've yet to go over there and vote. So I'm going to do that right after this episode, and all of our
Me too.
Infinity fans should too. So this is interesting. Travis is in the chat room, and he said he yelled at the chat room the ultimate pack when we were talking about Phineas and Ferb, and I asked what he was talking about, and he said once you unlock the Hall of Heroes statues for all 29 heroes or characters, a special ultimate pack will appear in the light in the middle of the hall. It says it. Oh, that's in the strategy guide. Thanks for that, Travis. I do remember reading something about that. I didn't realize Phineas and Ferb were going to be the final unlocks for that. So that's good to. That's a reason enough right there to get it.
Definitely.
Moving on. So just a recap of the last couple weeks of releases. Rapunzel, Anna, and the Elsa Toy Box Pack were released last week, as well as the last couple weeks, since we didn't have a chance to talk about this in our last week's episode. Just recapping that, and Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope were last week as well. If you're interested on some reviews on those characters, Funimation Kingdom has Rapunzel with the tangled disc, a review on that, and then also the Anna and Elsa Toy Box Pack. And then, like I said, shameless plug, I'm going to be posting a Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope review there. But it's really cool because these reviews break down all of the items that you unlock with those characters and all of the abilities. And so it's more than just the figures themselves and kind of how much or how well they represent the actual characters, but it also goes into a little more detail showing off all the other pieces that you unlock. So they're pretty cool. We only have one weekly release for this coming week, and that is Amazon of Denmark is releasing the Sorcerer Mickey And it looks like other stores in Europe have also been getting those Mickey. They may be getting those this week as well. You still don't have any word on those, do you?
No, no. I'm just looking now. I don't. Doesn't look like we've got any news on that.
Yeah, it's. I would think that it's interesting that different places are getting those differently because I would think that that would be maybe one of the releases that would be a little more universal and maybe a worldwide release. I don't know. That would make
Who
sense to me,
knows?
but who knows? That's a puzzle that we have yet to crack. That whole release schedule puzzle.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That's pretty much it for the news of the week. It was kind of a light week, which is to be expected with the holidays. Hopefully, this coming week will be a little bit more more exciting. Now let's talk about the weekly toy boxes. And as always, you are the one who reviewed these, and I thoroughly enjoyed your review. But this week's toy boxes were a little bit different, and they were none of them were what community toy
Community.
boxes.
That's right. Not community toy boxes.
Yeah, so I'm guessing the surprise that Johnny V talked about on the last episode of the weekly challenge were these specific Avalanche created toy boxes. Overall,
Consider
what was
me
your impression?
surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised. But it's
Um, yeah. Good.
yeah,
Moving on.
like it's good.
Uh,
That's done.
I must admit I struggled because you just reminded me. I was listening to last week's show. I wasn't on last week's show, and you reminded me that this coming week is the. Oh gosh, what is it? It's the
Wreck-It
Wreck-It
Ralph
Ralph.
challenge.
Yeah. No, DuckTales. What's DuckTales?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. DuckTales is released this Thursday. The deadline for the Wreck-It Ralph challenge is going to be this Wednesday, December
That's right.
4th.
All a bit confusing.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. As I said, like I think the best thing if you're super interested in what I've got to say about them, go check out the video. But I guess my highlights are the Sky Trials, which is super fun. I didn't finish it because I had a time limit, but I loved the Mario Galaxy feel of it, of these little islands that had very different feel and sort of activities, and how they were seemingly it was like a gamble when you jumped on the platforms and you didn't know where you were going to end up. I thought that was just an amazing concept of how to use the tools at hand, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, and a problem that we often face with toy boxes is the lack of direction, and this one was so obvious. And I think it was just partially the way it's the content in it. It's hard to get confused, but I agree. It was really, really cool, and it was straightforward. And
and the way that it was set up, like a lot of the islands were hidden. You couldn't see the islands, so it was legitimately a surprise, so to speak, when you landed, when you jumped on them. It was like, where am I going to end up? That was really quite cool.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there was 3 this week. The other one, I loved the Big Thunder.
Yes.
I don't know what it sounded like the roller coaster. Was that just me? Maybe I was just playing it in my head.
You did comment on that, but I do think that was just the train sounds. It
Still.
It sounded like. Well, and think about the roller coaster though. I think has train sounds piped in. So
that clink 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 sound is going up the thing. I swear I was there. And I don't know. And to me, again, I don't know, just because it had the name on it, but I felt like I was on that roller coaster. It didn't feel like a racetrack. It felt like a roller coaster track, just the way that they had the turns immediately after the downslope, and just really cool stuff.
Well, you and I are both Disney park fans, so I think we both have love for those recreations of rides. It reminded me, obviously, a lot more detail, but it reminded me of the Jungle Cruise toy box we had.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know the ride well enough. I mean, I definitely recognize aspects of the ride in the toy box, but I don't know it well enough to see if it followed it exactly.
Me either, but I felt like I was there. I was just again, it's one of those face palm. Like, how do you not think of these things? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it's so obvious.
Yeah, and
Um,
everything is there to recreate that essentially.
yeah,
It even has
totally.
the train, and I also liked how it gave you the option of the train or the coaches. That was really cool
Yes.
too.
I was super tempted to go another round on the coach, but I thought, no, I've got to move on. But I'll
Yeah.
definitely be hanging on to that. That's really cool. I'd like to experience that one in a race. Did they have? Yeah, they had the race icon
Mhm.
there, didn't
Yep.
they? Yeah, kind of cool.
I liked how you
Train of
did it
physics
though.
annoyed me a bit, but
Yeah. I like how you did it though. Just kind of leisurely went around it to check it out. So
yeah, I like that. I like to take in the sights, so to speak.
yeah.
And then the final one, a bit weird because as we discovered before the show, it was listed as Toy Story Claw. Now, did that feature in the highlight video, Toy Story Claw?
It did feature in the highlight video, but you and I both had trouble finding it. In fact,
Yes,
we never did.
I don't think that was available for download. There was a Sky Castle one, I think
Which
it was called or something.
yeah, it was something like that. And that was released a couple weeks ago. I want to say two weeks ago. So I don't know if they accidentally
Oh,
put that in
really?
there. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember seeing that ever before.
I played it. Yeah, I played just like 2 weeks ago.
Really? What was I doing
So.
that week? I loved it anyway. I thought, again, a really cool use of it felt like a cool castle.
Well, I can't remember. It might have been one of those special Disney toy boxes, and so you wouldn't have
Maybe.
reviewed it. So
That, again, looked really awesome. I
yeah,
got really happy with that. But yeah, my pick of the week, go play Big Thunder.
yes, I I completely agree with you. You did miss the Toy Story track,
Oh yeah, I think I
the
like
Toy Story Racer.
the Toy Story Racer. I felt again because I'm so new to the Toy Story stuff. I really enjoyed the. It felt like a Toy Story racetrack,
Yeah,
very Buzz type theme with the color theme and so on.
and I really loved the amount of stuff they had right around the track, right on the edge. I loved all the vegetation and all the buildings that they had. Really
Yeah,
near it. It just gives
really,
you,
really well themed.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel sparse or anything, and it was generally a lot of the tracks you race are just frustrating because you either fall off the track so
Mm.
much or you can't get around the loop to loops, whatever. This just felt like a raceable Mario Kart quality track.
Yeah, you just have to remember to bring down the difficulty a notch, huh?
I'm guessing none means hard as.
Yeah.
I'm going to start setting that to easy
Yeah.
because I'm sick of being humiliated live on YouTube.
Well, I don't. You know what? It's not a driving game, but man, the physics are sometimes so difficult. And the worst,
Yeah,
I agree with you. The worst is when you fall off and you don't respawn, and you're like stuck in this kind of no man's land, trying to find a way that you can jump back on the track, and then you don't know if you're going the right way or not, or if you're going
yeah,
backwards. And but yeah, I agree. This track, they did it right. So.
yeah. It was good stuff. But overall, you know, I let's be honest, some of the community better than the developers.
Well, it's the Sky, what was it called? The Sky Trials or whatever. The Yeah, Sky Trials was pretty unique. We had Sky Gauntlet 2, which was, I think that was a fan favorite for a lot of people, just not you or I, because we're not platformers. We're platforming people.
Was Sky Gauntlet 1 the one where you could race against a friend?
Um,
There was like two identical like obstacle courses that you could go against. I can't remember.
I don't remember if that was it or not.
Doesn't matter.
No, no.
Anyway, point is, took one look at Gauntlet 2 and thought, no, thank you.
You did, you did give it a chance, sort
I
of. Well, no,
gave it a
you did.
Dumbo flyover. That's
You
the
gave it a
ultimate.
Dumbo. Yeah.
Your toy box has failed in my eyes if I immediately hit Dumbo.
I love it because it's your staple. It's like when you
Yeah,
get too frustrated, you can't figure out what to do. You're like,
that's it.
I forgot.
Straight to Dumbo because I want to see it. I'm giving you that benefit of the doubt because clearly Disney thought you were good, but if I hit that Dumbo,
Yeah.
sorry.
So the Big Thunder Mountain was your favorite then. That was your pick of the week.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was transported back to Disneyland.
Yes, absolutely. It was my pick as well. I don't know if that would have been the same if I actually got to see the Toy Story Claw. What's it called? Uh, yeah, the Toy Story Claw, because that one looked really cool. They recreated the Toy Story Claw, and we've actually seen it before in some videos in the past. Some of I think when they talked about the Toy Story in Space challenge or the Toy
Yeah,
Story challenge, they showed it off then. It looks cool, and I can't wait to play that one because they recreated the spaceship with like blocks and stuff, and it looks
it does.
really.
And I'm a big fan of like the mechanic of finding the 10 items, like that Winnie the Pooh one. We had to find the
Mhm.
10 Winnie the Poohs. That's cool.
Yeah, yep. Hey, I got to ask you. This is kind of off the subject. And I didn't notice this when I played the Sky Castle. But what in the
Hmm.
heck were those D's on the ground? I've never seen those before.
You pick. I know. I saw them too, but I've learned to go. I see things all the time now that I'm like, what the heck is that? Where did that come from? Like the those seahorse rideable seahorse.
Yeah, I saw that cracked me up too. That's
I'm
in Toy
like,
Story in
all
space
right.
actually. That's
So
a
yeah, I see stuff all the time, but those D's were impressive. And me, they are cool. Like I don't know what they're from.
and yeah, and I don't think those were user made, so I'm wondering if that's a special unlock that the community has yet to find out. So
I don't know. That's yeah. I would have seen something like that. I would have surely.
unless
I
it's
didn't take
unknown,
that
yeah.
much notice, but was it like a on a platform or was it a texture? I honestly can't even remember.
It looked like yeah, I don't know. Because I couldn't tell if it was a block or if it was just a texture on top of ground. Um, but it was the Disney D, and it was in gold letters.
Well,
It was
that
even kind
was
of
yeah,
textured uniquely.
yeah.
So I'm
That's
wondering.
exciting.
It's very exciting. I'm wondering if this is something kind of like the Magic Band. That was a secret that people just kind of found out, and not necessarily an RFID thing, but kind of like an Easter egg in the game to see if
But wasn't the Dragon Keep still visible in the master list?
I don't remember. I don't think so, but I could be
I,
wrong.
I thought it was. Maybe not. Okay.
Hmm.
But
Who
anyway,
knows?
if that's cool, if there's stuff that still hasn't been unlocked to find, then that's pretty sweet.
That's awesome. I will tip my hat if that's the case. So if there's anyone listening, reach out to us. Look for us on Twitter or yeah, info at InsideDisneyInfinity.com. We would love to hear about that if you know the secret about that, and if you let us know, we will tell the world and we will give you credit. I'm glad I
Absolutely.
remembered that because I forgot about. I made a note to talk about that. So.
Yeah, as I said, I suppress these things because I don't want to look like a fool. I'm like,
You don't want to feel like you should know
Jason,
what
have you
that
ever
is.
played this game before?
Yeah.
Seriously, that's from this, this, and this.
Oh,
I
that's too
just
funny.
assume that I've seen it.
Yep. Well, cool. Well, that was this week's toy boxes. Again, this coming week, and the challenge has already been closed, but it's going to be the DuckTales challenge. And I keep petting my puppy over here, in case anyone's wondering
I can almost
what I'm
sense
doing.
Steve C playing the DuckTales theme on his phone
And singing
in the
along.
back. I can hear it. I can hear it all the way in Australia.
Yep, yep. Because that is his favorite thing to do. Him
Yeah.
and Pirate Steven. That's like they. I think they're gonna start a boy band, and it's going to be a DuckTales boy band, and it's going to be like the Huey, Dewey, and Louie brothers, so they're going to need to find a third.
And by the way, Steve, I'm not the Vegemite King. Vegemite Prince at the very least, all right?
Oh, that's awesome. Did you learn a thing or two about toy or about Thanksgiving from listening to our show? Probably not. We probably made it even more difficult on you.
I've got the back half to listen to, so I'm
Okay.
sure there's much wisdom coming my way.
Yes, it
I'll
gets
listen to it later on.
it gets better. And for those that did listen or watch last weekend, I made my bed for everyone because they gave me a hard time. Last week I had a bed. I didn't have a bed before that, and they gave me a hard time because it wasn't made. And so tonight I made sure to make it just in case anyone joined. They didn't make fun of me again. So. Yeah. So anyway, and again, December 4th. So this Wednesday is the deadline for the Wreck-It Ralph Toy Box Challenge. Cool. Moving on. So we talked about it not last week because that was a holiday episode, but the week before that, and we have a new section on the show, and it's going to be a weekly series where we discuss. Each one of us is going to pick a positive or a wish for the game, and then one negative or needs improvement for the game. And this week it was Jason's turn. So with that, Jason, why don't you go ahead and talk about your positive or wish?
Okay, so my positive or wish this week, when I was playing the reviews this week, the it was literally the Gauntlet 2 that inspired this. I think it was anyway, because I looked at it and I thought, I cannot be bothered playing this level. I don't want a platform. I knew there was nothing at the end of the road that was motivating me to get there. I've said it before. A simple explosion of fireworks is not motivation enough for me to get over there. And so, in that, I came up with the concept of, wouldn't it be cool if users could create some form of like unique, not a trophy, but something that they could then impart to the user who went to the trouble of completing their toy box. So you had this achievement, so to speak, in-game achievement to at least recognize that, hey, I took the time to finish a toy box and just didn't cheat it with Dumbo. But then, like afterwards, I thought to myself, I go, that in itself is not still probably enough to get me to do the level. And I thought, what's the biggest motivator you could have to get someone to complete your toy box? And that is story. And it was sort of touched on last week's podcast when I wasn't there, when they were talking about the concept of being able to put more instructions in people's toy boxes via signs or whatever. But I'd like to take it one step further and go, give us the ability to create story through I don't know, I kind of imagine like being able to do like speech bubbles over characters and have like fixed speech bubbles that would like expand and collapse and be able to put dialogue in there and then attach those speech moments to triggers and so on, so that you can actually tell a story within your toy box, and therefore the motivation to finish the toy box is because you want to see how the story ends. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's an awesome idea. I think it's something that would be relatively easy. You could kind of use the quest system that's currently in the game, and to notify people that there's someone who has something to say, just put an exclamation point above their head, corral them in a certain area, and so that way they can still, have their AI of moving about this invisible fenced-in area to create a little bit of immersion in there. But I love that idea, and I feel like it would be somewhat easy to do. It might be a pain putting in text, with
until the next gen, and we can just speak it or da da da. But
speak it or second screen it.
Put that aside, then actually the keyboard on the mobile for the PS4 works a treat.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, like, let's face it, when you're playing with your action figures as a toy, when you're a kid, like, you had to come up with a story why the Ninja Turtles in the same universe as He-Man. Like, the point is, you don't just play there and silently play with them. Like, you come up with a story, either Leonardo, the Ninja Turtle's the bad guy this time and whatever. But, you know what I mean? Disconnecting story from play just doesn't seem right, so to speak. It makes sense to just bring story elements into it, because at the moment it feels like a bit of a silent pantomime, doesn't it?
Yeah, it totally does. And you have the empty floor of your bedroom with all your toys just kind of laid out there, but you don't have the ability to create that story.
Exactly. So I just think that'd be a really cool wish, and again would just make the weekly toy boxes so much more exciting, because it's almost like you're getting a new story, 5 new stories every week with your favorite characters. So that's my wish.
I love it.
Negative or needs improvement is simply, I think this is massive for most people, is the ability to scale pieces, and almost, it's debatable, almost more importantly, be able to rotate things 180 degrees, not just the 90-degree rotation.
I would go even a step further and say 45 and 270 as well. Oh, I guess.
Yes, because you can't even flip things upside down, can you?
No. But I'm even referring to like angling at 45 degrees. So it's just the same as
That's
yours.
that's what I meant. 180. I should
Oh,
have
I
said
see.
360. I mean, a fluid be able to do it any
Yeah.
angle, effectively, like snap at the 45s and stuff, but be able to fine tune those angles would be so helpful.
Yeah. Well, imagine the amount of diversity we would get with landscape alone if you had that ability.
Well, that's right. Yeah, you're really limiting the options by only having that. And to be honest, I don't even know why they would have put that restriction. Other, I guess, for simplicity of connecting those pieces, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the system, whatever system they use, was either um, that would make it too complicated and they didn't have time to develop that, or it would be too difficult for an end user to
Yeah.
mess with.
Because
Um,
scale you can understand, because a brick that's a tenth of the size is still going to probably take out the same amount of memory, so therefore it's not that practical to have tons of little bricks. But still, that scale option opens up another world of possibilities as far as what the types of things you can build.
yeah.
So I think they tried to offset that. I think that's probably why they put that grow and shrink thing in, to sort of create that illusion of bigger or smaller blocks.
I don't think that works on blocks though. I think that only
No,
works
no, it
on.
doesn't. But I mean, but as a character,
Oh
by
yeah,
making yourself bigger, it kind of makes the block smaller,
yeah.
and vice versa. If you go smaller, the blocks become bigger.
Yeah, yeah. But my thing with that is I come up against when I face this problem, it's when I'm trying to build something specific, and I oftentimes feel like the current building blocks for terrain are just too limiting, and there's times when I want like I don't want this size, I don't want this size, I want the one that's in the
Yeah,
middle, or it's three
that's
little.
what I mean. It's really hard. Like, it's really hard to choose between those two. You make a decision right now. Which, if you had to choose, and they said, that, "Look, Infinity 2, we're only going to give you 360-degree rotation, or scalable pieces." What do you choose?
I would choose 360 degree, or I would choose yeah, changing
Full
canvas.
rotation, everything. Yeah.
Yep, yep. I would choose that
I,
because I think it's easier to work within the constraints of the scales, the size.
yeah.
Personally, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is there's been more times when I wish like, oh, I wish I could just offset this piece a little bit, or because imagine how much that would open up racetracks too, is if you were able to make, um,
45-degree angle
yeah,
pieces.
yeah, yeah, instead
Yeah.
of these sidestep pieces or these 90-degree bends.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree. I agree. But at the same token, scale opens up a lot more design
yeah,
things. Like, trees can become shrubberies, and I don't know what else.
diversity and
But yeah, there's that. I don't know. Yeah, it's they say it's a
so
tough
which
one.
would you choose? You have to choose right now. You could only have one.
I guess because of my like, because I'm not that creative in the toy box, I probably would go the 360 degree, because again, that's probably the one that's going to infuriate you more often than not.
Yeah, and
But yeah, but blocks would be, just even if they had included just a smaller block that would create that Minecraft capability that literally could build anything then, because you've got that. Because at the moment everything has to be huge. Like, look at
yeah,
that Mickey that was built. Was it last week
yeah.
or whatever, or 2 weeks ago? That big Fantasia Mickey, and it
Mhm.
almost didn't look the right scale because of the size of the block. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, and well, that's when you said that. That's exactly what I thought is having just small cubes that you could use to. Then it wouldn't matter. I mean, everything would be cube-like, but that's all right. It works with
Yeah,
Minecraft, so and
yeah, and they still can build like that. Was that Castle in the Sky had really impressive, and again, a really good demonstration of good block building,
mm,
creating cool structures with just building blocks. So
yeah.
give us better blocks.
Yeah, it's funny. I wonder if our answers would be the same if we didn't have the experience of the constraints we've been playing with for the last 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, well, if I had to choose and I'd never played the game before, maybe I would want scale because now I've gotten used to it and I know kind of the barriers I can work within. But I wonder if it'd be the same or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it'd just be fascinating to understand what the technical reason for those things was, because like there's literally, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there is not even a diagonal track piece.
Nope, there is. It's again, it's a sidestep, so it goes up and it sidesteps a slight angle, but then it continues going straight.
Yeah,
So that's the only way I've been able to create any sort of like diagonal,
yeah.
which
I just was using like the big corners and just linking them together, I think, from
yeah,
memory to get a diagonal, and that's a hard bit of track to navigate. So
yeah. But I guess you know what? Okay, so let's think about this. What if scaling worked with track pieces too? That would open up some differences because then you could like scale the corner pieces and bring them
mm.
in. But I guess that would be the only one where it really helps. So scratch that.
I don't know. I just
So
think yeah, that's like that's two things that. Like, although again, if we bring it back to toys and play, it's not like you can scale your He-Man figures.
it's true.
Like they
That's
come as is type thing. In
yeah.
fact, you know what I'd love to see. This is just a bonus rounder. I would love to see eventually. I really love the concept. I really love this concept of play and that they're toys. I would love to see an in-game digital store where it's like perusing a toy store and all the toys,
Oh,
like the what do you call it, like the toilet roll gun or whatever, to have it in like a blister pack on a wall type thing, and that's how you get it type thing. And so you got that experience of unwrapping it. It comes with like a nice instruction set or something like that, and it's yeah, got that that feeling of ripping out this new toy and then putting it into your toy box. You know what I mean? That'd be cool.
do you know where that would work perfectly? That would work perfectly on our unified Disney Park toy box, and it
Yes.
would be right there on Main Street. It would be a little toy shop that you walk into.
Be amazing. It'd be amazing. That's how all the new releases, like you go in, just like when you go into an EB Games, whatever, you see new releases coming soon, and you can see the placeholders for the upcoming.
Yeah,
That'd just be sweet if all those little villages had their own little digital blister box, and it's like you're using your in-game currency to buy that toy. That'd be so cool.
that's cool. I love that. I like
That's
that idea a
I
lot.
think it's cool. And if you're crazy like Lloyd, you'd keep one in mint condition.
You might too. He would have
That's
in his
it.
Hall of Heroes. He would have a
That's
digital
it.
bookshelf with like unpackaged or
That's
packaged
it.
ones, and then the ones he
Mint
plays with.
condition, digital, still in box. Disney
Oh, that is
Infinity toy.
awesome.
Yeah, that'd be classic.
Oh,
So that's my bonus wish for this week.
that's great. That's really cool.
But yeah, that's all I got for this week.
Well, all right, Jason. That sounds awesome. I love those two ideas, and who knows, maybe we'll see it one day. As they say, it's infinite possibilities. So I know
Totally.
you got to get out of here pretty soon, so let's go ahead and wrap things up. Uh, so you can find us the podcast on a few different places. Jason, do you want to tell everyone our YouTube channel?
YouTube.com/Disney Infinity TV.
So with the merger, with Jason and I's merger, we are consolidating our YouTube channel. So that's where you can now find our YouTube. Over the coming weeks, we will be posting past episodes on there and consolidating it all into one place. But for now, you can find new episodes there. So make sure you check us out. You can also find the show on the VG Podcast Network. Our regular, Mr. Lloyd Hansen, he was unfortunately unable to make it tonight, but he runs a great podcasting network over there, all having to do with video games. He has a Nintendo podcast, he has a touch gaming podcast, and he also has a general kind of generic video game podcast. And we are the first podcast to not be produced by him, but he has allowed us to be a part of his network. And yeah, so check us out there. It's vgpodcast.com, and it's multiple podcasts, so there's an S at the end of that. You can also find us on VinomationKingdom.com. Just look under the Disney Infinity section. We are posting our shows there. We are doing a little writing and feature stuff over there as well. And it's a great resource. It has lots of awesome articles each week. And they actually unveiled a brand new article this week called Blue Sky. And this is going to be an ongoing series where they discuss kind of wishes, but not so much what Jason and I just talked about that were more technical, but this is more has to do with including stories in the game or Disney properties. And I want to say this week was, now I'm going to embarrass myself, I think this week was Robin Hood of all things. So that's a really cool feature, and I'm excited to see what the writers come up with as far as their wish list of playset inclusions. You can find all the reviews for the figures. Like I said, I'm going to be posting a Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope one this week. Last week we had Rapunzel and Frozen. Make sure you check that out. And they have an awesome community on their Facebook page, and that is Infinity and Beyond, presented by Vinylmation Kingdom. Search us out there. It's a great group. Lots of good commentary and discussion going on there each week. Some of it has to do with the articles that have been posted on the main site, but some of it is just maybe smaller pieces of news and info that isn't necessarily requiring of an article, but good conversation starter. So check them out. It's also a great group of traders, and it's it's fun people. You can find that is facebook.com/groups/V as in Victor, K, Infinity, and Beyond. And they are also they're expanding their ridership a little bit, and they are looking for some toy box experts that would like to write some articles on creating toy boxes and really elaborate. Kind of like, I don't think you've gotten there yet, Jason, but kind of our discussion last week with one of the toy box winners, and just anyone that's interested in writing some toy box articles, you can do that. Just email Travis, and his email is travis@vinylmationkingdom.com, and he'll be sure to be in touch. With that being said, that was a lot of info. You can find the show in audio form on iTunes and also on Stitcher Radio, and then, on YouTube, like Jason said. That's all I got, Jason. Do you have anything else?
No, that's all. I'm looking forward to the next top 5 toy boxes.
Well, it's obvious at this point that we are all big Duckburg fans, or not Duckburg, but DuckTale fans. So we can't wait to see what those are, and I'm sure that's going to inspire some more theme song singing along action. One last thing I wanted to mention. So in 2 episodes from now, let me bring up my calendar. So not next week, but the following week. It's going to be shortly before Christmas, so that show will be on December 16th. We are going to be having a special episode, and Jason and I, we've talked a lot, and it's more from my perspective because he has kids and I do not, but we've talked a lot that a lot of times we talk about Disney Infinity from a parent's perspective, or from an adult's perspective, not necessarily a parent or family perspective. So on that episode, we're going to have some of our friends on the show, and we'll be talking about Disney Infinity and kind of how you can play it as a parent, how you can play with your kids, and just a discussion on how your kids play the game and stuff like that. So if you're interested in joining that podcast, let us know. You can find us at info@InsideDisneyInfinity.com, and we'll be in touch. And we'd love to hear from the community and kind of hear how you like to play Disney Infinity with your kids. You can also find me on Twitter at ILIAM, and Jason is Wanted Gamer Pro, right? At Wanted Gamer Pro.
That's correct.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Jason, thank you so much for being here tonight. I know you have other stuff going on. We missed you last week, but we hope you had a great Thanksgiving episode and you learned a lot about the American Thanksgiving.
Yep.
All right.
Look forward to the Australia Day episode.
Yes, can't wait for that. That's a good idea. You're gonna be the one talking to us with dumb looks on our faces then. So
I'll just make it all up. It'll be funny. All right.
You'll just make stuff up.
That's it.
This is when the kaiju came from the ocean. Oh, I think this is a record, Jason. We not only started on time, but we are ending on time as well. So
magical.
Magical.
Infinite possibilities.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening or watching. Travis, thanks for being in the chat room. NJV, we appreciate it. And it looks like TJ from the Pixar post just joined. Unfortunately, we are just signing off. But hey, TJ, love to see you there. And TJ had an awesome article a couple weeks ago about the new releases too. So go look that up at pixarpost.com. All right, I'm done. I rambled way too much. So
Adios.
everyone, I hope your week is filled with infinite possibilities.